Cancer, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early December 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Cancer Collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Cancer Collective in early December, at the very back end of 2025? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end of the reading, I'll pull a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Cancer in early December. What's the vibe? What's the energy for my good friends? Get this card out nice and quick for you. There you go. Okay, cool. And this is a very common card for all the water signs. You do get it from time to time. So do the other ones. It's super imaginative and daydreamy, big future focus. A lot of stuff here about visualization too, which I think is really nice. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the December subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this little scene in front of us where we have these two little clown ballerinas. One is down here. She's having like a little nap, taking a little snooze. The other one up there is walking on a tightrope. And it's my interpretation that these two figures are one and the same. This one down here is dreaming about doing that, or daydreaming about doing this. What's to come in the future? So for a lot of you, whether it's spirit advising you, like, all right, Cancer, maybe don't look behind you. Don't even look at the current circumstances. Look at what's ahead. Look what's coming up. Maybe spirit wants your focus towards the future here. That's a big thing with this card. But of course, when I think of somebody imagining and fantasizing and daydreaming, it could imply a lot of thinking. Now, that could be great. That could be really great for any creative pursuit, creative project where you're expressing yourself, whether that be art, anything that you're just putting a lot of creativity into. Even problem solving, you could be good at thinking outside the box when this card is here. But the downside is the rumination, right? Potentially thinking about things a little too much, being up in the mind a little bit when this card is here. So just know that energy's floating around. But it's common. This is a very common energy with all water signs. So we're just going to put her over there. Let's get into tarot. Let her keep doing her daydreaming. And I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Cancer. What do we got in early December? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was pretty positive. It was titled A Massive Offer. So whether it was an offer or opportunity work-wise, business-wise, or even a communication, there was one of importance that seemed like it was showing up. There was a lot of ace energy, a lot of fresh, new energy. It felt vibrant. So hopefully something good came in. And I always say with offers and wins and victories, all that stuff, there's a lot of different ways that can affect our life. So if it hasn't come through yet, just know that energy is still possible. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Cancer to start us off. What do we got in early December for my good friends? Oh, okay. So we're starting with the Ten of Swords. We'll talk about that. Let's not get too wound up about the Ten of Swords in position number 1. You're not the only sign that got it today. It's a very common energy. I wouldn't say very common, but it shows up. We all experience it from time to time. Okay, Queen of Pentacles, cool. So the energy does seem to stabilize. That's a good thing. We get the Queen of Pentacles tucked in right there. Let's get one more. Let's get one more here for Cancer. Tower, okay. So we got some intense energy here, Cancer, and it's okay. You're not the only one that's received any of these cards, so you're not alone with all this. We're just going to have to work our way through and see what the nuances and undertones are of this. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into the juicy intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, yeah, there are some challenging energies that we'll get into when we start building it out. But elementally, there's a pretty good mix. Nice even mix, right? We got air in the front, earth, water. So a nice mixture. So nothing is skewed too heavily in one way. When it comes to air, that connects to the mindset, mind state. Air is very logical, strategic, plan based. It's a little flighty. So even if this is something that's not too savory, air energy moves out quickly. So I think that's a good thing. Air, aside from being mental, is huge for communication. So we're going to keep an eye on that. In the center, we have a nice grounding influence. We have Earth. Now, when I look at Earth, I think of work, money, career, finances, business, home, family, living situations. It's our feelings of stability. That's the thing. So surrounded by all this action, I like that we have a firm center. That's a good sign. The only downside with Earth energy is sometimes it can feel a little restricted. Sometimes it could feel a little stuck. So we'll look at it. Moving to the back end, with the water. That's your comfort element. And I always say, even though the tower looks like fire and brimstone, it's actually water because it connects to Scorpio. So that's your comfort zone, really. So water is the emotional realm, the internal realm. It's imaginative and creative, just like we saw with the Oracle. Uh, the downside to water, it could be very up and down, right? It could be very extreme in one direction or another. It's always moving. Uh, could connect to relationships as well. So we have a mixture of stuff going on here, but I'm really itching to build this out. So let's start building it out piece by piece. Position number one, Ten of Swords. So let's start right there, because I know people of you that know tarot and readings know this is kind of an uncomfortable energy to look at and one to deal with. And just like with all challenge cards, this one is on a spectrum. So it could be something minor, it could be something major, right? Like when I look at the minor aspects of the Ten of Swords, I think of some gloominess, maybe feeling a little down in the dumps. There could be a situation or something that's bothering you, that's kind of nagging at you, that's still in the energy. But this card can also range into some pretty heavy stuff. It could represent endings, it could represent pain, it could represent betrayal, the whole nine. So we're going to need to really look and see, all right, well, what's the undertone of this? Is this a Ten of Swords you've been dealing with? Is this a new Ten of Swords? Is it one that you're working through? Is it one that's improving? Because that's the real silver lining of the Ten of Swords, is like, okay, this happened, this energy's here, but it only goes up from here. So that's the one thing I always like about this. It does go into improvement. And speak of improvement, as we move over to the next card, we have the beautiful Queen of Pentacles as we get this Ten of Swords tucked back in by the Amethyst. The stabilizing force I was speaking about. So I like this card. It could represent an earth sign, so Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. Doesn't always have to be the case. Queens represent the internal aspect of their suit. So remember what I was saying about the earth: feelings of security, money, work, finances, home, family, all that stuff. So I like her because she is a grounding figure, a grounding force. So again, Ten of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, it's like, okay, this is what it is. So there could be something you've been dealing with where it's like, all right, well, that's the situation. Even if it's not optimal, it is what it is. The good thing about her, she represents blessings. She represents abundance. She's nurturing, loving, and caring. I always think of her very similar to the Empress, very motherly. So I really like this card. But the downside to her, as mentioned, just like with all earth energy, is that she could feel stuck. She could feel like she's still stuck or dealing with something. So we really want to take a very close look at this Queen of Pentacles. And sometimes she can represent a lack of stability too, in the most extreme sense. Moving to the back end, we have the big showstopper, so to speak, the tower itself. So big Scorpio vibe. So if you got Scorpio placements, you're connected to Scorpio. There it is right there. Now, again, the imagery isn't the nicest, but we're not just looking at the imagery, we're looking at the feel, or we're feeling the vibe that comes off of it. And the tower does represent shock, right? Like it represents something that pops in out of nowhere, out of the blue type of energy. So, of course, there could be warnings here. This is a card that can also represent endings, closings of chapters. So when we got the Ten of Swords and the Tower in the same spread, it's not the easiest energy to work with. But I always tell people, not every tower is a bad tower. Not every shock is a bad shock. Sometimes they're actually good ones. And I've seen some good towers like the past couple weeks for other signs. So maybe that's the case. This is also a very karmic card as well. It could speak about the cycles of life, remaking oneself, cleaning the slate. So this is a nice fresh slate type of energy as well. So yes, is it powerful? Absolutely. Is it explosive, shocking, surprising? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that you're going to have a terrible week or that only terrible things are coming, because it's never that simple. It's never that simple with life and with the readings we do. So I want to dive deeper on all of it, Cancer. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. And yes, while I get this shuffled, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Ten of Swords. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Cancer, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Ten of Swords. What's happening? Thank you. Okay. Okay, not a big fan. Not a big fan. Um, so the Page of Pentacles to me represents communication, talks, offers. So when I see it underneath the Ten of Swords, it's like, oh, I'm either having a conversation I don't want to have. I'm not saying that you definitely have bad news coming your way, but Ten of Swords with the Page of Pentacles, it's like, oh, do we really got to be talking about this? Or there could be a conversation where you dig into some painful things. That's the vibe. So could this be a serious style conversation? Absolutely. Doesn't mean that you're going to just get served up bad news after bad news, or that someone's going to come in and end something. Ten of Swords, Page of Pentacles to me is like, all right, we're talking about a very difficult topic here. So maybe if we put the biggest silver lining on this, we don't have to just go endings and all that stuff. Maybe now is a good time to really dig into some painful things, right? Like with the Ten of Swords and the Page of Pentacles, whether you're talking with somebody else about something that they're going through. Being very empathetic. Everyone knows that the Cancer Collective is extremely empathetic, good listeners. You do take on the energy of those around you sometimes. But yeah, Ten of Swords, Page of Pentacles to me, it's like, all right, there's a difficult topic or a serious topic, and we are discussing it, and we need to talk about it. So again, whether it's that or a conversation you're not really wanting to have, that's kind of the vibe I'm picking up here in the front. We're not going to dwell on it. It is what it is. We're just going to keep moving forward. The good sign to me is the fact that we have a lot of earth showing up now, because that seems to stabilize all this other energy up on the top. Let's go in on the Queen. Let's see, because we're still very early on. So why is the Queen of Pentacles here for Cancer, please? I do want to see if there's going to be some warnings this week. Okay. Yeah, digging things up. Digging things up. That's just how it feels to me. So we have the Six of Cups in reverse. Now, there is a lot of potential to do it. There is a lot of potential to dig things up or revisit things. The Six of Cups is one of my cards of history in the past. Um, Memories, soul ties, soul connections, all that stuff is also true. But to me, when I see it, I just think of something that's already happened, or it's something that is from the past. So when I see it in reverse under the Queen of Pentacles, this could be either something returning in a big way. So I'm not sure if you want it to return, but like the energy to me, there's something that's returning in a big way. Or now is a good time to really start cleansing some energy that you've been holding on to for a long time. Really speak about some difficult stuff, get into the weeds, and start pulling them out. That's how it's feeling to me. Okay, so we got a double message there. Now's a great time for shadow work. That's the big silver lining we're seeing here. So whether you're doing shadow work yourself or you're helping somebody else through their shadow work, it's like a calling to me. Like now's a great time. But aside from that, there could be various things that pop back up, that return. Put that message with the shadow work to the side. Okay, so it could be a variety of different things, situations, people, you name it. The door is open. So we're just going to keep moving. We're going to keep it moving here. So why is the Tower in the mix? And we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So what's going on with this Tower? I mean, for a spread that starts with the Ten of Swords and the Tower up at the top, we're doing okay. I could tell you that. So why is the Tower here for Cancer? Thank you. This is just like hitting a reset button. That's just how it feels to me. It's like, listen, I'm starting fresh, I'm starting clean. So the Hierophant in reverse is absolutely a change or a shakeup. So whether it's a shocking one, like I said, I always say when I get the Hierophant in reverse, it is like Tower energy to me. So this is kind of like a double down of that. So I think right now is a great time. You might not even have a say in it, but the energy is like changing and shifting in a very powerful way. I don't want to use the word explosive or shocking too much. It could even just kind of be out of the blue, where there may have been something that's been bothering you for a long time and now it doesn't bother me as much. Or now is just a great time to clean the slate. That's the best way it feels. So, of course, back here with the Tower and Hierophant in reverse, this card is about tradition. It's within the box. It represents institutions, things how they've always been. It's a long-standing energy. So when we see it in reverse, it is a harbinger of change, of a powerful change, twist, whatever phrase we want to use. So whether you're purposefully doing it, cleaning the slate, starting from scratch, starting fresh, for a portion of you, it just feels extremely powerful. Could be surprising or unexpected too. Okay, so we're just going to put it down there. And that doesn't mean it's bad just because it's an energy that's out of the blue. But I am still getting those little hints that there may be something that's been bothering you for a long time that no longer does. So we have this undertone of the shadow work and working through things. Let's go through and do a quick recap, and we'll get into the shadow. So, very nuanced this week. There are some difficulties in the mix, potential chapters closing and endings, or at least uh, working through those. But in position number one, we have the Ten of Swords with the Page of Pentacles in the upright. To me, that felt like a serious, important talk or a conversation I don't really want to be having right now. But it could also represent speaking about things that have been bothering you for a long time and digging into those things, the not so savory topics, and working through them. Moving to the middle, we have the Queen of Pentacles with the Six of Cups. Again, the shadow work is here. Now there's a good stability in the energy for you to tackle this kind of stuff. But aside from that, Queen of Pentacles with the Six of Cups to me does feel like a potential return of something if we're not digging into the past. On the back end, we have the Tower with the Hierophant in reverse. So yeah, we clean slate, shocking, surprising change in various ways. There could be a lot of things that have been bothering you where it's like, it doesn't bother me as much now. But yeah, there are things closing out as well. So very intriguing mixture of stuff. It's a little heavy, but please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going. What do we got for Cancer in the shadows? Thank you. Okay. Seven of Cups. So it's like we tie back to that very first card we had with the Oracle, because this energy is very similar. Now, the thing I love about the Seven of Cups, and I'll give you the positive before we get into the shadow side, is that it represents choices, options, and paths. That's great. So there could be things you're dealing with where there are more paths to victory than you think. There are more options for you than you think you have, which I think is really nice. But aside from that, if we look at the shadow side of the Seven of Cups, it is very much overthinky. It is fantasizing, daydreaming, similar to what we saw in the very beginning. But the shadow side of this is talking about the mindset and mind state. So with these situations, and with anything really, it depends on the lens at which you view it through. Is it the worst thing in the world? Is everything happening to me or for me? Like, you get what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. The perspective shift might be necessary when this card is in there. Like, how you view something and how you frame it is of utmost importance when this is the shadow. So we're going to put it down right there, Cancer. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the December subscriber surprise. If you would like further clarification on your situation, you can book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My December schedule is live right now, and the spots go quick, so go check it out, see what's available if you want to have a chat with me. But for the December subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks for all skill levels, the Gilded Tarot Royale. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed, and second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards, which one do you resonate with most? When you see it in a reading, it's like, yeah, that's me. Put your answer in the comments. You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in the community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.